What's up everyone? Welcome back to the Hello Trash Garage channel. On today's episode, we are going to jump into the Honda EF project and install hopefully two new parts we got for it today. The first one we do have on hand. The second ones we will have to wait for and take off the first ones in order to install them. But you can always trust FedEx or any mailing service, honestly. We've all had our hearts broken. So because I am too impatient to wait, let's install the first ones and let's see what they are. And now that we have the wheels and tires on, only a couple hours later, I did do some garage cleaning. Until then, we did receive the new parts from FedEx, and they are the Skunk 2 Pro Series S2s. They were purchased off of They were the last set. I am honestly stoked about them. This is the first coilers I've ever purchased, like ever, for any car vehicle ever. They are, as far as I can tell, really good products, really good quality. I know they will do way better than the ones that are on the car, and every time you hit a bump it feels like you're gonna break your back. So between the new tires and these, I'm really hoping the car handles 100 times better. And that's my biggest goal with the car, is handling. We'll get to the power later on, but I'm stoked. Let's start installing these. I do apologize, I'm not gonna do like a how-to because I'm sure most people know how to do this. From just looking at it, it's literally 3 to 5 bolts per corner at most. If I'm wrong, I'll obviously let you know if I find something that helped me when I was like challenged from something. Like I said, if I find anything weird or challenging and I have to come up with something, I'll let you know, but I don't think we're gonna have any hiccups, so let's get to that. And as you can see, we got the wheel off. A little crusty under here, but this will be the winter project, so this is gonna get all corrected. I'm gonna get this stuff installed so we can keep going to like a couple more car meets and then bring it in for its final hoorah and start that project. But for now, let's start getting all this out and dismount these crappy, ridiculous ones because I can't stand them. So let's get to it. I would leave the top 2 bolts that secure the coilover to the shock tower. Take out the 14mm that holds the coil to the bottom fork. Take off the 2 10mm that secure the brake lines, and obviously the very bottom right here, which is this 17mm right there on the lower control arm. You can then push the spindle and hub assembly pretty far down, which gives you enough room to separate the fork from the coilover, and then go ahead and take the fork out and then slide all this out. And that's the best recommendation I have for the front. Other than that, it was pretty simple. Maybe hit it with some PB Blaster if it's been a while since your stuff's been apart before you start this, and I'm gonna start putting the new one in. And as you can see, we have them side by side. This is obviously the old one. It's very blown out. There is pretty much no resistance in the actual shock portion. You can push it down fairly easy. The locking nut or jam nut is in the wrong spot. It's actually supposed to be against this black piece to assist at the black part not spinning or loosening or anything like that and keeping it secure. It's not. I can simply move this black piece, you know, by hand. I didn't move that. That one's still super tight. I am just gonna do, because I don't really know what else to go off of, I am just gonna match the new one to this one. It's the only reference I know how to go off of though, so I'm gonna match the top to bottom on the Skunk 2s from the one that came out, just hopefully give us a general direction of how long they need to be, and then go from there. So reverse that process that I told you how to take off, and if that doesn't work, then I will mention not to do that or anything like that. So let's get to it. Okay, so many hours later, it is installed. I'll get to why it took so long, but a quick tip is I did make sure that both of the new front Skunk 2 coilovers were the same length as this one, because this one is set at the hopefully correct height, and I just wanted to make sure that we start off at the same point so that any correction I make to the driver's side, I can make to the passenger side while it's still out, so that hopefully when the passenger side goes in, it's pretty much already exactly where we want it. So what took so long was the fork. Now this I don't think was Skunk 2's fault at all. I think the previous owner had something to do with this, but this one was the one from it, as in the one that came out with the old coilovers. Now this one says AL5, and I think it's ZET, or yeah, I think it's ZET. This one, the diameter where the coil slips in and then the nut goes through was too big. So I went to the junkyard and found one that was HR. Well, the one on the driver's side says HL. And this one is, looks like it's 9MT right here. So make sure that hopefully, well, we can even look at this one. This one is 9MS, and then like I said, HL. So make sure that when you're doing this, you've got the H up top and then at least the 9s, so that you don't have the same problem. And they do look different. This one is more straight here than this one. This one's more rounded. They are, as far as I can tell, the exact same length and everything. It's just this diameter up here. So I don't know if this came off of a different Honda because he had these and maybe they fit. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of new to Hondas, and the whole Lego system still isn't all quite there in my mind yet. So thankfully Junkyard had these, got back, got these installed. So now we can start putting the wheel back on and start the passenger side. And I will catch back up to you when we start the rear, because that's gonna be the next portion where I can like maybe inform you of something. And then obviously if I see something on the passenger side, I'll let you know, but it should be the same as this side. So let's get that started. Okay, so it is the next day. Last night I finished all 4 corners up. I didn't really show you the back because it's literally 2 14mm nuts on top, a 14 bolt and a 17 nut on the bottom. And when you put, at least the ones I got, they had that nut, the 17mm nut on the bottom already welded to the actual coilover. So then you just put the 14mm back into, or the 14mm bolt back into it, and you're good. Took a while to get them ish how I want. I do have a bunch more things to do to this, you know, so like the brakes and whatnot. So they're gonna come back off, so I'm not super worried about ride height right now. I just told myself, get them on, go for a test drive, see how they feel compared to those old horrible ones, already threw them away, and just get a good feel for hopefully what a better coilover feels like, because this car, like I said previously, had horrible suspension, and now that we have much better tires, hopefully all that makes a better ride quality car, and that's what I'm going for. So the next clip should be me pulling it out and going for a test drive. But the battery did kind of die, so I'm just kind of trickle charging it, and see you in that clip. So I'm just pulling out on the main road here. Initial like feel so far is I do notice a little bit of a difference in a good way. They are stiffer than I thought, but I'm okay if it adds stiffness but gains, you know, less body roll, so we'll see. There's a specific bump I'm gonna go to that used to f this car up. Like, I don't know what it is or why it's there. Maybe it's like where 2 roads met when they were like new and old and then one got remade. But it's a slight bump and it's pretty harsh. So we're gonna go check that out and see how this car handles it now. And I don't know if like coils get broken in, if you will. I don't know if I like get softer over time. Well, I'm sure they obviously do because it's metal. Different in a sense of like how they feel or how they work, but hopefully we'll see. It is, that felt bumpier than normal, but it's a different bumpy. It's like a, it's hard to explain. It's like it's sticking with the ground more. Before it was like a harsh impact, and and this one is more of like a stiff but like different. It's hard to explain. Like, I can feel all these little bumps, and I'm sure you can maybe even see me moving in the camera, but it's different. It's soft but stiff. The other ones were just straight. It didn't feel like like the car even had suspension. Like it was just on 2x4s or something. And this car did have a problem with popping out of second gear, so yep, it just did it. That's getting addressed, trust me. Sorry if the sun is weird in the lens right now. It's coming up to a roundabout, so I wanted to feel corners and whatnot, so I figured not only that bump, but getting to that bump has some decent not examples. Yep, second's bad. It doesn't like second. That was my fault. When I bought the car, it didn't have that problem. I misshift second more than any other gear, so I'll take the hit. Oh, and this has railroad tracks too, so we'll get a feel of that. It's weird how it bumps in. Like, I hold the gear shifter back in second to keep it in so it doesn't pop out. And like, you can feel so stiff, but I think it's stiff in a good way. I've never driven like quote unquote race cars, so I have a feeling that when people mean like stiff and like coilovers, or like at least nice ones if you will, it's adding stiffness in a sense of alleviating body roll and whatnot. So I could be wrong, but that's my guess. So we're doing 55 and I'm gonna hit that bump, and I used to have to slow down to like 40 and like do weird shit to like soften the blow. And it's right here, and I usually go to the other side because it's less bumpy, but we'll see what it does. Oh yeah, even though that might have sounded bad on camera, something could still be loose. I'll double check everything, and I got a bunch of shit in the back. That's exactly what I'm looking for. That was exactly what I wanted. I wonder if I should go try to do some like high-speed turns. That's why I wanted that roundabout. We go back that way, so that'll give us a good safety sense to do some pretty harsh turns and cornering. It's, even though this is a stock EF with like 90 horsepower, it's so fun to like just bomb through all that, just mob through it, you know? So we'll go do that because I've done it 110 times, so I know from past experience driving this car what it'll be, if it's better or not. I love this car. And so if you've made it this far in the video, it's gonna get an engine swap. So in order to alleviate that second gear and to get some horsepower, go ahead and comment below what you think I'm gonna do, and then what you would do if you had the car. I already do have everything, so hell yeah, brother. We got a lot of stuff coming for this car. This is just version 1. I'm just doing the things I have now so that we can get it back on the road as fast as possible, and you know, having fun, car meets, like I love it. Oh, here's that bump again. Yeah, much better. That's sick. That's sick. So, like I was saying, you know, this is just getting it on the road kind of as fast as possible before we start getting snow here in Colorado. Hopefully we get it done in like a weekend. I need like a couple more things. It's gonna come down to the shift linkage. I'm debating if I want to custom make it or just spend the $100 that someone already makes that engine to the EF, so we'll see. That was the railroads, much better. So just more research on my end. We're doing 4,000 RPM in the second gear. This is rubbing on the front driver now. I heard it. I do think the new tires are slightly bigger than the last tires. Not only maybe an actual size, but obviously tread, because the old ones were really bald. But I did just hear that fender touch. So we will make sure that we raise them maybe 2 turns. just so that we don't go straight monster truck. I'm used to trucks, so when I do a lift kit over time, like, you know, a couple hundred miles, they do eventually settle. Do coilover settle? Because like I said, this is my first set I've ever bought, so I was also wondering if we'll have to take that into consideration and maybe do a little bit more, because it will eventually lower or settle, whatever you want to call it. So I'm happy. I'm super stoked. As of now, I recommend them. Yeah, I'll give you guys like a 6-month update too on how they are, and we will go from there. As always, keep running those wrenches. If you want to keep up with the build, go ahead and subscribe and comment like I said below. But till then, later.